Hello, lovely learneds. Welcome back to A Life Learned after a very long hiatus, much longer than I meant for. I want to start off by apologizing to you guys for it having been so long. I knew I was going to take a break because I needed to move, but I just didn't really expect things to get put on hold so long. But my recording room was the throw room when we first moved, so I just had nowhere to work. And then it took a very long time to get my background done, and we had to bring our puppy home sooner than expected, which, by the way, I got a puppy. He's going to soon be featured in some of my videos. Very many emotions to describe what that's been like. It's been very difficult, but also very rewarding. Mostly difficult. It's not something I recommend anyone with mental health issues pursue. A dog is one thing, adopting a 1-year-old, 2-year-old, that's different. But when you have to actually do the training yourself, you need to have patience. It is an essential tool for training. And I've been doing my best, but I have undoubtedly lost my cool several times. And it hasn't been too good on my mental health in that sense. Although, he has been a huge antidepressant and has apparently noticeably been reducing my depression according to other people. So very happy to let you all know that Zuko is my little puppy. He is a Mastiff mix. He's gorgeous and he's very intelligent. If you guys want to see more about him or learn more about him, feel free to find my Instagram down in the description and follow me there. I'm sharing about him relatively regularly, although he has me quite busy. I've come to learn that you're not supposed to leave puppies unattended. I didn't know that before getting him. Like, I learned that the day we got him because I've done a lot of research, and so he's kept me very, very busy, which has made it difficult to get my channel back up and running as soon as I wanted to. But here I am. I wanted to bring a few thoughts to you guys for Mental Health Week 2017 because I realized that ultimately the reason I've been on this hiatus is because I have changed my expectations of myself and of my channel and of how I produce content, and ultimately tried to be healthier by being grounded about my limitations and about what I do or don't like about content creating, and trying to be more accommodating to that instead of what other people's expectations are. And I know this can be very, very hard, especially with mental health issues, especially when you have a lot of people in your life who don't understand what it's like to deal with mental health issues. They always put expectations on you of how you should behave, of what you should be doing. People love to should on you. And a very big piece of advice, I think I've mentioned in past videos, but I will mention again, that my past therapists have given me, and I just think is the best thing to know, is do not should on yourself. I like the play on words there, but it's very, very important to keep in mind. It's not healthy to put expectations on yourself, or on other people for that matter. Open communication is key in ensuring that this can happen, and this isn't to say not to have, standards for how people treat you. You should be respected. You should have a standard for how you feel people should treat you kindly and etc. But having expectations just leads to disappointment because when you're having expectations, at least on other people, you're setting their standards for them, and that's not really fair. Now, in terms of how they treat you, that's really about self-respect and expectations within relationships. And in one sense, again, it makes sense to have a standard where you respect me, we openly communicate and try to be a team, in whether it's a friendship or a romantic relationship, whatever. But expecting someone to be a certain way that's above and beyond just being kind or respectful, or to do a certain thing, or to feel a certain way, isn't fair. And it just, again, it leads to disappointment because you've put something on someone else that's more about you. And when you're doing that to yourself, it's much actually harder to deal with because you can't just reason away, okay, that's my problem and I shouldn't put that on them. Like, it is your problem, and then you automatically put it on yourself because it's your problem. A good example of this for me is that I'm very particular about how I keep my space, and I really like it to be a certain way. It makes me feel more comfortable and lower stress when it's like that. But I can't expect anyone who comes into it to know that automatically. It's reasonable that I communicate with them, this is how I like things to be, and to also compromise. If someone forgets to put a glass by the sink and they don't visit me very often, like, that's not a big deal, and I shouldn't be expecting them to know. On the same note, or on a similar note, coming to the channel, I often feel that those who subscribe to me are expecting me to put out. You're expecting me to make content that's interesting and engaging and something that you want to watch. And that puts pressure on me, and it makes me nervous to make videos. It makes me feel like I have to be a perfectionist about things, and that has to be just right, and that I need to be perfectly showered and the background needs to be perfectly lit and everything like that. And that limits my ability to make videos at all. If I remove those expectations, either from other people or from myself thinking other people are thinking that, and just try to be, then I get to make a video and I don't have to worry so much about these other expectations. I can just experience the experience of making a vlog and sharing with you guys and not worrying so much. And I know, especially with the society we live in today, this is very, very, very hard, very difficult, because people put expectations on us constantly. And fighting that, it's just not easy, because they keep doing it. Even when you're like, no, that's not right, you shouldn't, they'll just keep doing it sometimes. And you kind of have to be the filter between them and you. And when you're not mentally sound all the time, that's really hard. It's really hard to have that barrier, to have that sound, comfortable barrier, mental barrier, where you're not letting people impose on how you feel about yourself. It's a big part of having mental health issues, and particularly PTSD. And so with that, I very much empathize if you guys feel you have boundary issues to that degree and have a hard time not putting expectations on yourself about how you should be with your mental illness, or having other people put expectations on you. It makes perfect sense. Everything you go through, every emotion you have, every experience you have, every time you get upset, every time you get sad, angry, burst out, we don't like it, but it makes sense. It's perfectly reasonable that it happens, and the only way we can ever really do anything about it is by recognizing that, by not shooting on ourselves, by reducing our expectations and realizing, no wonder I'm like this. It makes perfect sense with everything I've been through, and if I'm mindful of that, that's how I can start to slowly change those thoughts and those feelings, so that I'm not experiencing them and thus reacting in the way that is really reasonable when you're having that type of experience. So yeah, I just wanted to share with you guys that, I guess, in lowering my expectations, and having increased pressure in life, that's sort of what's led to the hiatus of ALifeLearned. But I'm going to be working to try and get myself producing a little bit more regularly. I have a virtual tour planned of my new place, so if you're interested in that, please do let me know in the comments below. I know at least one person is, because they requested it, so I do plan on making that. But I figured before I get that done, because I've been having a hard time getting my place together and feeling able to do it, why not just share a few thoughts with you guys for Mental Health Week about expectations and trying to reduce them on yourself and on others, because it reduces your stress and it increases your ability to be mindful, and thus improve on your mental health and your overall life and happiness in general. And yeah, in that sense, that's what I've been trying to do. It's not been easy, so again, I empathize with how hard this is, but I really do speak from experience in saying that it does work if you give it a chance. Just got to take it one little step at a time and not have expectations on how big those steps can be. So anyways, if you guys have any thoughts or feelings on this, or anything you want to share for Mental Health Awareness Week 2017, please do feel free to comment below. And I'm not sure when exactly that virtual tour will come out, but as soon as I can. And in the meantime, please do join me again next week or sometime very soon, where I try again to share a little something I've learned or experienced in life.